Hello and welcome to podcast number 42 from the Self Publishing Formula.
Two writers, one just starting out, the other a bestseller. Join James Blatch and Mark Dawson and their amazing guests as they discuss how you can make a living telling stories. There's never been a better time to be a writer.
Well, this is exciting because we are all three of us, the triumvirate that is the Self Publishing Formula, is together. And I like also, if you're watching this on YouTube, we've set up a couple of cameras hopefully to capture this, but what we've done is we've done a hierarchy of height. So Mark?
I'm sitting in the throne.
I don't need to do that, you've got your own microphone.
Oh yes.
Yes, you're sitting in the throne, I'm slightly below you, and then cleaning up the floor below us is John.
I'm on a much smaller throne.
So John Dye, you've not been on the podcast before, I don't think, but you are one of the three of us who runs SPF. Just introduce yourself, who are you?
I'm John. I don't quite know what I do at SPF, but I understand it's invaluable.
I don't know what John does.
No, I don't know what John does. But anyway, well, look, the reason we're here today, we should just explain to get things going. And we're going to say right from the off that this episode is going to be about our 101 course, which is live and open at the moment. And we're going to talk a bit about what it's like from the end of your manuscript and what you do next and how you get there. And we're going to talk about how our course works, but also other things if you're not going to get the course, you're maybe a bit further on, and what people have found. And the reason we're here in London, hello, cameras, is because we've had a handful of our early students stuck their hands up very quickly and said not only would they very happily do a testimonial about the course, which we're very grateful for, but they've got on trains, they've got on planes, and they've flown into London to be filmed by us in this lovely little studio in Bloomsbury.
I think the real reason they did that was because they knew John would be here.
You are a celebrity.
He's a very handsome man.
I mean, you don't even need to say it really, but I'm the reason they're here.
Yeah, but it's great. No, we've had Dan's flown in from Belfast. We've still got Claire to arrive shortly. She's getting into St Pancras, I think, as we speak now. We've had people come up from the south coast. In fact, the person who's come the furthest came from Mexico, but he was already in the UK. And we sat them in the seat that you're sitting in there, Mark, in this studio, and we just asked them why they bought the course, what they thought of it, how they think it's going to change their career, and whether they thought it was priced correctly, which is something that we have to think about as well. And I have to say, we're going to hear from them in this podcast, but we've had some very flattering and very nice answers from people. So let me ask you, man in the chair now, are you pleased with the way the launch has gone and the way the course has turned out?
Yes, I'm delighted with how it's gone. We've enrolled over 600 students, I think now. Probably by the time this goes out, it'll be near 700. We've had some absolutely amazing feedback, and the fact that people have been prepared not just to travel, so in Dan's case to get on a plane and fly from Belfast to come over here and spend the time with us. It is the fact that they have taken time out of their busy lives, writing schedules, they've got word counts to hit, and they just wanted to come down to London and hang out with us, and that's really, really flattering. And whilst you guys have been busy doing whatever it is that you do,
important work, filming,
whatever, I've been doing similarly important work, drinking beer and and coffee in the kind of virtual green room, which has turned out to be the pub down the road. And we've had some really great conversations. It's been all kinds of different genres represented, from action and adventure to non-fiction to Cowboys and Indians, and really the full spectrum of genres are represented. People at different stages of their careers. So we've had some who are reasonably advanced but found the course to be valuable in that it maybe corrected some bad habits, and we've had others like my friend Steve, who I went to school with, who's just starting out, very excited. He's got 3 books he's working on right now, and is basically kind of standing with his mouth in front of a great big faucet that's just going to pump. This is a terrible analogy. I'm going to fire knowledge bombs.
And you are a writer.
I'm supposed to be a writer.
Just to clarify.
I know, but it's really, really great, and it's massively flattering. And it isn't just these guys as well. We've had people on the mailing list would have seen an email I sent out on Monday as this podcast goes live, which was, I just asked for some Facebook testimonials, and we had at the time I posted it was about 35. John designed a nice page, and we sent those out. At the time of recording it now, it's over 40, and I'd expect it to be more. And some of those have just been so flattering. it's been it's great that we've had such a great launch, and of course that means that we've made a little bit of money, which is good for us. But better for me is the fact that people are really, really engaging with the course. They're getting tremendous value out of the Facebook community that we've set up, and they want to be a part of some of the exciting things we've got planned for 2017 and onwards. Okay,
well, let's talk about the money a little bit, because we are being noticed in the online courses community as well. People are sort of turning heads, and I think for the Teachable platform, which is one of the major players, probably the major player for people who want to make a good living out of online courses. I think I worked out we account for 5% of their total income. We are their biggest customer, one of their biggest success stories. But I want to give a figure out there, just because I know that everyone will see, 600 times 397, these people are rolling and they'll be driving their Porsches tomorrow. One of them is. Actually, do you know what our outgoings are? Neither of you will know the answer to this figure, because neither of you take any notice at all of the figures that I do. But the outgoings for SPF are about $200,000 a year.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Well, it's about, we're spending our current spend at the moment, and that's mainly you wasting money on Facebook advertising.
I was going to say, John, what are you spending money? I'm not spending
Well, there's my drinks bill and food bill, and no. I would imagine advertising is the key.
So we'll do a really good course launch, and that will pay hopefully our costs for a year, because the amount we invest in Facebook advertising, we must be a big client of Facebook's for the size of company we are. But it's important for me because I think it's important that we run this company well, that we teach people to sell their books, but actually it doesn't matter, because a lot of the principles are the same and we can do it. We've really cracked that. I mean, I think we're doing a good job, and so yes. It's a big company now. We've got 4 people working for us around the world. There will be more after this course, without doubt.
Yeah.
So and now, so one-on-one selling, it's open at the moment. If you're writing a book, if you're thinking about launching it in 2017, very much where I am, then that's the person we had in mind, isn't it, for 101?
That would be one of the people. I mean, I think it's certainly that person who's just got a book ready to go, but it could also be, for example, Steve, who we spoke to today, who's got 3 books. There are some authors who've come down today who've got multiple books, and they were tossing and turning a bit about whether they should take the course, and decided that they would, and are very glad that they did, because it underlined that their foundations weren't as solid as they thought that they were. And with making some fairly simple changes and working on their mailing list and their landing pages and their website and their offers and all of that kind of stuff, they're able to put a little bit more solidity in those foundations, and which will enable them to build, more substantially as they go on. So it's not, if someone is doing really, really, really well, I'd say don't look at this course. You might be more interested in our advertising course, which we'll have again next year. But for those starting out, or those who feel they could do a little bit better, then this is one to have a look at. And as we've been saying ad infinitum, when people ask us whether the course is right for them, we often don't know what they don't know. So it's not always easy for us to answer that. And the best answer is we are very happy for people to sign up to the course on the $39 payment plan. They have a 30-day guarantee, and if after looking through the course, and that's the chance to look at everything, all of the content is immediately available. If they decide that it's not something that they think that they'd benefit from, then they can just get their money back, and we're very happy to process that immediately without asking questions.
Yeah, and we had, I can't remember who it was, because I'm a bit frazzled at the end of the day. We've done a lot of interviews today, but we certainly had one person who said, even though she had a website set up and landing page and mailing list and a ConvertKit account and the rest of it, it wasn't working for her. And the first thing that she noticed, she walked through the course and she said, literally, I found out what I was doing wrong quite quickly. So there are people who certainly have the basics of a setup but are not there yet. And I think that's what from my point of view as a new author, when I look at your teaching, is the focus you bring. It's not about you need a landing page, you need a website. It's what's that website going to be doing? Why do you need it? And this is how you set it up for it to work for you.
Yeah, one of the things we did that we're quite pleased with, or I'm very pleased with how it's turned out, was we put all of the work, all of the walkthroughs and the technical stuff, we cut it out and stuck it into what we call the tech library at the end of the course. This is effectively a standalone module. And all of the other modules are therefore unencumbered by that kind of technical detail. They enable me to talk on a macro level and to talk about the philosophy behind a certain tactic or strategy that I'm recommending. And then to tell people if they want to decide, say we're looking at mailing lists, we'll talk about why you need one and how best to optimize one and find readers and all of that kind of stuff. And then I'm able to say at the end of it, look, we recommend 2 email service providers at the moment. We recommend MailChimp for beginners and ConvertKit for more advanced writers. And if people want to set that up with full screen flows, I mean, James here recorded a 5-part screen flow for ConvertKit. It's very, very thorough. I did one for MailChimp. You can then go to the tech library and then at your leisure, sit down, go through it step by step, pause it, take notes, whatever you need to do, without that having to distract attention by being in the kind of the main body of the course itself. And some of the guys I've been speaking to today felt that was a very effective way to deliver what can otherwise be quite complex information.
Yeah. And since everybody started, these 600 students have dived into the course. We've had one typo, which didn't get through all the beta stages and all the testing that we did. There was one typo, which is pretty good from 20 hours of video and numerous PDFs. That was your fault?
That was John's job. You had one job.
I get the blame for everything. All I can say is been corrected.
It has been corrected.
It has been corrected.
And I spotted something that I felt I could have done better in the Vellum, and also Vellum released a little update this week, so that got re-recorded. And we always do that anyway, and we're about to go through Facebook ads with a fine-tooth comb, make sure that's bang up to date. Well, look, let's hear from a couple of our beta testers first of all, before we hear from the enthusiastic young students who've been taken on. I wanted to hear from our beta testers. They got a first look at the course. Some of it's changed since they first did it, thanks to their feedback. And I've got 2 who I've interviewed for the podcast. One is Kerry Gardner. Now, Kerry, we know, she does some work for us. She's one of our Facebook moderators, and she goes through some of the courses for us, but she's very thorough. She's got a brilliant story behind her, which we'll use at some point as well. That sounded very rude. We'll use at some point. We will talk to Kerry about her story because it's amazing at some point. And the other person is Andrew Turpin, who we didn't know at all, simply one of the beta testers who are... Sorry, Andrew?
And Stuart.
And Stuart. No, I think we're going to save Stuart.
Okay.
We're going to save Stuart. So, I know what I'm doing. I do the production. Andrew Turpin, who we don't know from Adam, or we didn't know from Adam at the beginning. He was selected as a beta tester. He applied through the advertisements that everyone else did. And so I just interviewed them both about what they liked, what they didn't like about the course. And I thought we'd hear from them first.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, I did not expect it to be as comprehensive as it is, because it's billed as the 101, not the Facebook Ads for Authors course. In my mind, it was going to be somehow less of a course, much more basic, an introduction, and it's not. It really is not that. You could take this from, all you've got is your manuscript on your hard drive. You can sit down with this course and it will step by step take you through everything until you're published on all platforms, you're published in paperback, it'll hold your hand all the way through. It is so comprehensive that you actually don't need another course anywhere.
And in terms of the instruction, did you find it easy to follow? Where was it pitched? Did it require some technical know-how to follow?
No, because where there has been technical know-how, it's explained. It's assumed that you don't know it. So it's not assumed that you're going in there with a certain level of expertise. And when people are talking about KDP and select and all this, that you're going to know what you're talking about. Mark explains it. And you do, James, you explain it, you go through it and you make it clear. But you also then move on quickly. So it's not pitched at, how can I explain it? Even if you're an intermediate person, you skip over the bit that is basic, and there's a ton of content in there for you as well. So it is pitched perfectly in my view.
And what about teaching mindset as well as the technical aspect of it? You referred earlier, it took you a while to understand that you needed to treat it as a business. Do you think this course achieves that? Definitely.
It's very easy to say, well, I want to be a writer, I don't want to be a business person. And honestly, if I had a choice, I don't want to be a business person, but you have to do both hand in hand, and it comes across very, very clearly, not just in the modules, in what's being said, but how the whole course is put together, how you've got other people on board from Insta-Freebie, from BookBub, and you've got all these other people, and you realise you can't just sit in your little office and hope something's going to work as a business. And it comes across very much that is how Mark has treated it from when he started, and that's why he is where he is today.
So from what you've seen, Kerry, who do you think this course is suited for?
Well, I've been publishing for 2.5 years, and I went through this course, also gone through the whole thing, and I've learned things. So, and I honestly, there's not a lot that I didn't think I knew already, but I have learned things. But if I was coming into it brand new, I could cope with it, I could keep up with it, and it would get me to where I am now in the time it takes to do the course, which is very frustrating. I wish I'd had it when I started, because it would have saved me thousands of dollars spent on other courses that didn't work, and, well, months and months and months of spinning my wheels. So ideally, I think it's pitched at the brand new beginner, but also at somebody that's got some experience as well.
I started writing about a year ago. Always wanted to write a novel, but sort of never got round to it, what with work, family commitments and so on. Life was just too hectic. In fact, I started trying to put pen to paper about 10 years ago and scribbled a bit and then put it down again, didn't quite get any further. And then just over a year ago, I was made redundant from my role as a corporate communications, media relations guy with a large energy company. And what with the oil price having halved over the last few years, roles were not very plentiful, so I decided, right, I've got more time on my hands, I'll just sit down and give it a go.
And Andrew, you put yourself forward to be a beta tester, and you were selected by us randomly. We don't know each other, do we? We just say that I think some people are thinking, oh, have we just chosen our friends? But we made some selections really based on experience and so on, and I think you're probably an ideal candidate just at the beginning of your career to have a look at the course. So let me ask you then, what was your impression?
No, it's very useful. I mean, having gone through quite a steep learning curve on the writing front, then to try and get to grips with all the marketing strategy that's required as well, to actually get the thing out to market and to readers, and to try and capture readers via MailChimp or whatever. Very steep learning curve. So I've really found this course as a very compact DIY kit that's been fantastically useful. I mean, it's saved me a huge amount of time that I'd have otherwise had to sort of, I spent a lot of time going through various ad hoc routes to piece together the various components of what's required, and no doubt I'd have gone down a lot of blind alleys while I was trying to do that. So it's been really, really helpful. Very good.
Did you find it technically easy to follow?
Yeah, it is technically easy to follow. I mean, what you've done is lay out the step-by-step process for everything, really, from Amazon through to MailChimp and the other email operators, through to using things like book funnel, which I probably wouldn't have sort of clocked onto otherwise. Very comprehensive, and I think it's easy to dip into if you need to go back and sort of recheck something. So quite very user friendly.
And in terms of sort of the impact on your career, you say that you would have gone online, you probably would have found out the ways to do things, but this is, well, do you think it's possible you would have got there without the course?
Well, I might have got there without the course, but it would have certainly taken a lot longer. I mean, I've heard Mark sort of talking about his early days in self-publishing, going down endless blind alleys, and talking about the nightmare of trying to do things manually rather than use MailChimp or whatever. So it probably got there, but it would have certainly swallowed up a lot of time, which I could be very valuably using trying to get stuck into the second or third books. I think the most valuable use of a writer's time is to is to write. And, if you're sort of spending a lot of time trying to work out the technical side, then that time's all gone. So, yeah, I think it's certainly going to be a big time saver for sure.
So that's Kerry and Andrew, and obviously they were both very pleased with what they found. And we started to get a hint, because I tell you what's interesting, let's be honest and transparent about this. We're transparent about as much as possible in terms of how much we price the course at, because when you price a book, you have to think very carefully about this, and there's a point at which, and supply and demand curves and all the rest of it. And my hunch, and I'll be honest about it, is I think we've underpriced it a little bit. I think the course in terms of value is worth more, and I think we perhaps had fewer students, but I think we still would have been better off with a higher price. I don't know whether you agree with that or not, but
I think it's immaterial now because people have got a bargain with this.
Well,
course, so.
I tell you what, that's a very clear message, and I will tell you as the person who does do the figures for SPF, this course will never be sold at this price again.
No. Well, we have underpriced it, but we looked at it for an awful long time. We did a survey as people joined the mailing list, and one of the questions was, what would a course that solved your self-publishing problems be worth, or something along those lines. And the kind of the median was, unsurprisingly, you had options, and most people went for $99. Fair enough. But some, about 25%, said more than $399. And we thought about it, and in the end, because this is the first time we've launched the course, we weren't entirely sure what the right price point was. But my wife was telling me that we've underpriced it, because I said that we're going to go for $397, and it turns out I think she was right. There's loads of value in the course. The bonuses themselves are worth more than the course fees, and these aren't kind of throwaway bonuses that we could just chuck together. They're valuable bonuses, things like formatting. What else? Website design, images, all of that kind of stuff that people will actually need. It isn't kind of a frippery. This is something that people will need in order to successfully launch their books. And they're worth more than the course is worth itself. So yes, we definitely did underprice it. We definitely won't price it at this point again. I think probably next time it would be $597 or something along those lines. It's going to be higher. So yeah, that's not a bad takeaway. If people are on the fence and they'd like to, they like to look at it,
they won't get a chance to buy it for $397.
Go for it now, because that's not bad advice.
Yeah. Okay. So we were pleased with and we should give a shout out. Stuart Grant's going to be in our next little montage coming up in a moment, because he came down here today to give us some testimonial interview. But Stuart was also one of our beta testers, and he did a great job. And we got some great feedback, thorough feedback from our beta testers. That enabled us to shape the course to the way it is today. So, and that's the other thing that I just want to talk about before we go into this montage of the people who've come down to see us today. And I look around at the self-publishing world, the thing I'm proudest about this company is the way we have lit a spark here for a community, which I'm thrilled to be a part of, let alone a leader within, somebody who's helped shape it, but a part of this community feels to me an energizing thing for my book writing career.
Yeah, it's an amazing community that we've built. I mean, the Facebook group itself, we've got several now. We've got kind of 2 free Facebook groups based on kind of beginner level and then advanced marketing. We've got our mastery group, which is the advertising group with over 2,000 people in it now, which is as vibrant today as it was the day we opened it. And then we've got this new Genius group, which is the secret private group for people who've taken the 101 course, and that already is buzzing all the time. And I'm in there quite a lot at the moment, because people are tagging me and asking me for my opinion, which is I'm completely happy to be able to at least try and provide answers to those people. So it's a really exciting place to be. We've got some exciting new plans with people like InstaFreebie. We're going to be rolling those out next year. There's an InstaFreebie Facebook group that we've set up as a part of the course. That's rocking. We've got Ashley from InstaFreebie in that group, liaising directly with authors, helping them to run their promos and add potentially hundreds or thousands of new subscribers. So from top to bottom, the community that we've built up is exciting. It's, as you say, it's energizing. It's cooperative. People are collaborating. It's a really fun place to be.
Yeah, and it's amazing to meet people, isn't it?
Well, I think one of the takeaways from today, from all the people that we've met, has been that it's this amazing support network that you get with the course. And that is an enormous amount of reassurance for people who are spending the money on the course, to know they can dip into these groups. And we've heard several stories today where people have gone there and found the answer to a question that they didn't know they needed to ask in the first place.
Yeah.
They found the answer to it. And I think that's fantastic. And that's worth something in itself.
Yeah, and as friendship, we know that you can have virtual friendships today, which can be as meaningful as real world friendships. And there was an example of that today. In fact, Kerry, who I mentioned from one of our beta testers, from our last little montage, is a virtual friend of one of the women who's going to speak in our next montage, and they have a very supportive relationship for writing and so on. And that's something that's come about through our little community as well. So it's an isolating career, right?
I was going to say, it's a lonely existence, right, Mark?
It can be. I mean, there's a bit of a cliche. The writers kind of sit in their ivory towers all day.
I've got one of those sort of holes in the ground.
And we'd keep John in the cellar. So it's,
You've gone to the doctor.
I've thought of a job for you. You can go and see if the red light's flashing on the back of that camera.
I've got a job.
I've got a job. Go and see if the red light's flashing on the back of that camera.
What do I do if the red light's flashing?
Is it flashing? If it's flashing, it's good.
It's flashing.
excellent.
You can sit down. You're going to check every couple of minutes because
want a drink?
it did click off in the first segment, and so we've got black for some
flashing.
people. So we'll keep an eye on that. Okay, look, shall we hear from our testimonial people? So these are people who Mark posted in the group and said, look, what do you think of the course? Who wants to say something nice about it? And we would have been open.
Who wants to say anything honest? There was what I said. I'm very, very clear that we accept good and bad feedback. Just feedback is good, because if people have issues with it, then of course we're able to very, very quickly go into the course, make amendments. We've already done that a couple of times, and it was something that we continue to do as we add new stuff. So yeah, we wanted feedback, and we got some really fantastic stories in the group. And then, as I've said before, these people have been so generous to take time out of their busy schedules to come down and hang out with us today in a slightly kind of a, what is this, converted.
It's like a unit. It's like a lock-up in
Basically,
EastEnders.
it's a converted sweatshop.
Don't say that.
There will be bodies in the walls.
Yes.
I tell you, it's a lovely little studio, and they sat in the seat you're in. So let's hear from them.
Hello, I'm Stuart Grant and I'm a starting author, just taken Mark's course. I was overwhelmed by how much information and content there is in it, the way it's laid out step by step. It really does guide you through the steps that Mark takes you through. There's so much value in each module, and I'm just really pleased and honoured to be part of the course because it's going to change my writing life.
Hi, my name's Jack and I'm a writer. There's one section that I find particularly useful, and that's where Mark plans out. He gives a whole timetable for 2 different scenarios and all of the steps and what to do at different weeks and that kind of thing. And I found that really useful because I'm looking for something that's more like turning my writing into a business, so like a business plan, so that I can know exactly what I need to do when, so that I can focus on my writing.
I think it's the step-by-step guides through things like Amazon, how to set up your page, how to get that metadata optimized, how to get that audience, how to set up your mailing list. All those kind of things are things that I probably had an idea that I wanted to do but had no idea how to do. And the course has really taken me through each of those stages and enabled me to start those steps, which have kind of put me off from doing anything.
My name is Nick Warren. I write thrillers that mix action, business and psychology. My first impression was it's so comprehensive. You know, what I was looking for really was something which would take me all the way through that sort of first publishing adventure, really. And you don't have to look very far online before you start seeing Mark's name come up in terms of teaching, if you're looking for a teacher for that kind of thing. And I think it's not just the individual areas that it's covered, but it's the little asides all the time. There's just so much depth in the content. It's really good.
My name's Claire and I've been writing for a very long time, and I've come down here from Nottingham today. Before I even bought the course, when I was looking at the list of the criteria and curriculum, and as soon as I read through that, I was like, I need to get this, because it contained exactly what I knew I was going to need. You know, I've done the writing, I'm carrying on with that, and I've kind of got the mindset stuff that's helping me be much more productive. But then what do I do? And the course is exactly fulfilling that for me. It's, okay, what do I do with this stuff I've written now? Rather than chucking something on Amazon, I'm actually going to be able to put a book out there and get people to read it and pay to read it and send me emails saying they love my stuff, and that's what I want.
My name's Dan Farrell. I live in Northern Ireland and I've been writing for the last, 10, 12 years, maybe even more. Don't even know what year it is, 19.
I know how you feel.
He's teaching me how to swim through these shark-infested waters. His instructions, his teaching is so detailed and relaxed. I'm confident that I'm going to be able to get this cracked.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I've written 10 books to date. I write in 2 genres. World War II fiction would be the genre I want to write in all the time, and I write in another genre that pays the bills. Despite the fact that I have a website and I have a Facebook page and I have a Twitter account and I have a mailing list, which are all covered in the course, I realise now that just having them isn't enough, that I haven't been utilising them to the maximum. And I think my sales could radically improve if I just put the basics that I have in place, if I put them, if I use them properly like the course suggests. When I said I was going to take the course, I had quite a few people say to me that I didn't need it. And I think that's a misconception that's out there, because the name of the course is 101 Publishing, people automatically assume that it's basic and it's for people who don't know anything about self-publishing. And I strongly disagree with that. It is a basic course in that it covers the basics, but if you don't have the basics right, there's no point in moving on to the more advanced stuff, because you need the basics as a foundation. I think without this course, I've built the house, but the foundation it's on are rather shaky. So now I'm going back to make sure that that's more stable and my long-term career will benefit.
I'm Sheena Cundy. I live in a small village in Essex by the sea, and I write stories and songs. For the last year, I've been fumbling around in the dark. I've needed a plan, and this is step-by-step, comprehensive. And he's a natural teacher, and so I think that it's going to give me loads of confidence and will give other people confidence as well, definitely.
My name's Stephen Marriott, a new author. Well, I would say to people who've got no idea, who know how to write, but who've got no idea what to do next, forget about everything else. This course covers it all.
It covers every single thing from the smallest details that you thought you knew and you realise you didn't, to the wider picture, the long-term goal. My name's Stephen Moore. I hail from Mark's neck of the woods in Suffolk. What it's done for me more than anything else, apart from all the amazing information, which I'm excited to start to put into practice, it's the confidence that it's given me. Where are you at your career? Are you at the point where you have 1 book out, 0 books out, or 3 books out? I think that anybody can find value in this course. There's so much for everybody at any stage of your writing career.
I think we all face the fear of not knowing what to do, and the course enables you to take that fear away and say, right, I'm going to do this in bite-sized pieces, step by step at my own pace, and it's going to teach me how to do those so that I actually get some success. And it's kind of made me feel that there may not be a huge audience for my books, but there will be an audience. And actually, Mark has shown me how to go out and find those people via Facebook, via mailing lists, and just kind of generate some interest around what I'm doing.
Outside of the videos and the PDFs that you get inside the course, there's also the closed Facebook group that you can only get in as being a member of the course, and I've found that tremendously useful because that's live interaction. I had a problem about some editing, and I put a quick search into that Facebook group. I got the answer that I needed from that group within 5 minutes. If I'd had to go and research that on the internet, it would have taken me half an hour to an hour. So just that saving, if I extrapolate that over the whole course, it's going to save me days, weeks of time.
You don't even need to ask a question. You just read it and then you think, my God, I didn't know that was a question I needed to ask.
Even just the Facebook groups that you get entered into once you sign up, the information that I've gleaned from those groups alone has been priceless.
For what Mark is giving you, $400 is an absolute steal.
I think it's too cheap.
So do I.
So, him especially.
I mean, how many courses do you get when actually say, okay, what you need to do is you need to get a website. Here's WordPress, and that's it. You've actually that should be like a separate course, but you've actually got someone working through how to set up a WordPress site. This is above and beyond what you might expect, because again, you've got people there teaching you how to actually, point by point go through that. So, the value in the course, it's hard to place a value on it, to be honest.
Never has there been a better value for money. I've learned so much. People in the Facebook groups that come along with it all say the groups alone are worth the money, and I couldn't agree more.
To be honest, when I received the email as to how much the course was, I was blown away at how inexpensive it was. I felt that was a really very reasonable price. I think what impresses me is that Mark isn't a gatekeeper of that information. He doesn't hold it to himself and say, I'm going to do this on my own. He shares it with us, and it is a huge amount of information. There's years of experience in that course, which you just couldn't garner anywhere else, as far as I'm aware. And I really felt that in terms of value for money, the course itself is amazing, but then there are a list as long as your arm of extras, Insta freebie, website design, discounts, all kinds of other things that are involved in it, and the ongoing support, the community, the Facebook pages. I mean, it does feel at the moment like it's never ending.
If you don't know it and you can't find it in this course, it doesn't exist.
So there they are. There are lovely testimonial students. We offered to pay expenses and take people out for lunch. So we had a nice lunch in Carluccio. So you can see a photograph on our Facebook groups of us in there today. And we paid their train fares, and we got, we paid their airfares if necessary. And we got several offers of people in California and Australia because we offered to pay travel expenses.
I offered to collect.
Yeah. Because people need collecting. Anyway, so it was lovely that they came and spoke to us today, and thrilling for us to meet them, and I think they were pleased to meet each other, people on the course. So I tell you what, Mark, SPF Live is something we've talked about a little bit, and you floated some ideas in the Facebook groups, but I'm pumped for this type of event.
Yeah, we were very early on in that thinking it, but I think it is, a few people have suggested we could host something next year, and I think that is a possibility, maybe one in the US and one in the UK. I think that could be quite fun. We could probably get some quite good speakers to come along now. I have a feeling we could get some quite interesting corporate sponsorship, which would enable us to put it on at a cheaper price. Certainly something we will look at as the new year turns around.
And Andrea Damansky has already said as long as we're within 3 hours of Georgia, we must go and all stay with the Damanskys.
I'm there already.
That was the Miami Vice boat trip.
Yes, for those who haven't seen that video, John's previous appearance on SPF TV was on the back of Andrea's boat, looking windswept and handsome, and kind of a slightly Indian Don Johnson.
I was Tubbs, I think.
Yes, possibly Tubbs.
Okay. So the course is open for a few more days. If you're listening to this on Friday, and we are late in the week putting everything together, so this podcast may actually end up on Saturday, but we've got until, when are we going to close it? Probably middle of the next week?
Wednesday, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, Wednesday. So you've got a few days left to have a look at the course, and we mean what we say. We say it to people all the time. That refund is there because we know that the course might not be for everyone, and a good way, we can talk to you about the course as we have done in this podcast, till we're blue in the face, but actually if you go in, have a look at it, watch the modules, then make a decision whether it's right for you or not. We're not offended if you ask for a refund.
No, absolutely not. And also, when we say it closes on Wednesday, we do really mean that we for lots of different reasons, we don't accept students outside the open periods, and the next time, we haven't completely scheduled it yet, but I think the next time we'll be looking to open this will be summer 2017. So, take it now. A quick question. We do get some people who say, should I take it now? I'm just at an early stage. And Again, you've got the refund, but I would say just in terms of starting out, building solid foundations, and then working on your novel and getting it out there, or your non-fiction book, whatever it is that you're writing, you can't start learning this kind of stuff too early. It's always going to be useful to think about how to find your readers. There are things you can do even in those early stages that will improve your chances of having a good launch. So, I would say have a look at it. Once you buy it, it's yours for life, and we will update it as new things change.
Yeah, and as somebody who is writing their first book, I think it's a nice way of having a break from your writing as you get towards the end of your book, and also to bring a focus to your writing, because you start setting up your landing page and your early, MailChimp accounts, or all the rest of it.
Get a cover.
Yeah, the cover done. It's motivating, but also brings a focus. This is not just about an abstract thing, me writing a book. This is an asset of a business I'm creating.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Well, have you enjoyed your first appearance on the SPF podcast?
I feel it's been stellar.
I want to see what the ratings are like afterwards. If they're down, this will not be repeated.
The slight problem is that John is the one who reports the ratings.
That's true.
So, massage the
you'll
figures.
never know.
Yeah. So that's it. We're going to say goodbye. We won't be talking about 101 next week. It'll all be done and dusted, but we will have a fabulous interview for you.
You've been listening to the Self Publishing Formula podcast. Visit us at selfpublishingformula.com for more information, show notes, and links on today's topics. You can also sign up for our free video series on using Facebook ads to grow your mailing list. If you've enjoyed the show, please consider leaving us a review on iTunes. We'll see you next time.